I was recently at a jewelry store helping a friend out shoot a time-lapse video. And as I was setting up the equipment and shooting the video, I had a chance to actually just sit and observe. And what the video, and from what I observed, it revealed that salespeople, when they weren't selling, they were typically doing repeated tasks, often sitting waiting at a computer to use that, or going through drawers, doing some type of repetitive task that probably didn't need to be done. Now, listen, don't worry. I'm not this kind of guy to suggest that your managers sit there with a stopwatch and time your non-selling actions. That's insane. That's crazy. Nobody wants that. But rather, I'd just like us to think for a second about what things that we do every day, and sometimes several times a day, that waste our productive time. Time we could be doing things that are the most productive and profitable for our store, and that is, first of all, customer follow-up and then outreach. Jimmy, is that all you talk about is outreach? No, but I do talk about it a lot. But the reality is that when we look at these activities that pay us and the store, the most ROI, the most return on investment is, of course, number one, following up on existing customer requests, and then number two, outreach. Now, in our outreach classes, number 510 through 517, I encourage folks to set a goal for every day on the number of outreaches that you plan to execute, whether that's 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever it is. Then I tell you to find those times in order to accomplish your goal. When are you going to do it? Before the store opens, between customers, scheduled time off the floor.
When are you going to start? I'm going to start right now.
Whatever and however you decide is great, as long as it works for you. But since teaching this, I've learned that there are a few barriers to staying really productive in our non-selling time with outreach. The first is that the list we're working off of can often seem very daunting. So I recommend this to anyone who's printing reports. Print reports for the customers that you've individually sold to. So if I'm printing a report for me, it's all my customers that I've sold to, okay? So I might print a report now in October for Marie, for everyone who she sold to in November of December of last year. Now, the report isn't as daunting because Marie can now more likely recall that, oh yeah, Carl was in buying for Chris, and he was talking about maybe giving an engagement ring next Christmas, which is this year. So now Marie has a great opportunity. So print reports of folks that your people will have sold to individually. This will create the best recall for everyone, and thus a more productive and frankly a more enjoyable time doing outreach. Next, I found that folks aren't preparing their areas for really quick action. If you can get your area set up in a safe spot before the store opens for your quick outreach, along with your report right there, now you're in business and you can truly take advantage of that spare 11 minutes. Yes, take care of your priority customer follow-up first, but then be sure to have all those outreach tools right there and accessible to knock a few out. And finally, I've found that people get hung up too much on what to say. They look at these lists and they think, I can't remember if I should say something to every one of these people. I don't remember all of these transactions. Listen, I want to encourage you to, first of all, relax. And don't worry about it. Look at your list and let the list jog your memory. Many times, and this is going to provide for the most personal outreach anyway, but many times we'll look at a name and we won't remember something specific about them, but there was something. And then we go back in the computer and we see, oh, she bought Shy Creation Rose Huggy hoops for her 2 daughters, and I put a few things on her list for her husband to pick up, which he didn't pick up yet. So now you got something, right? You got something to reach out to her husband for. So don't worry about remembering. If you have a list of your sales, the list will talk to you. And frankly, that'll take all the pressure off. Personal lists, great preparation, and let the list talk to you. Now, also managers, set goals with folks, incentivize them, and have games for outreach. The reality is this: you just will not have an effective program if nobody's tracking it and nobody's incentivizing it. Now, it goes to say that your individual incentives are really the customer relationships that you build and the sales that you'll create with this. But a lot of times to get a good program going, to get the habit going, right, it requires some nudging from management and each other. So incentivize and encourage people on a daily basis. Set up games and contests, things like that. Right now is the time to really go after this. Here in Wisconsin, it's about 90 degrees. It does not feel like time for Christmas, but right now is the time to start going after this. And if we develop that habit, we're going to have a great fourth quarter. You should be filling your calendars now with customer appointments between November 1st and December 15th. So that, frankly, we're all freed up from December 15th to the 24th to react to people coming in the door last minute. So I want to add one final thought. Everybody talks about outreach. In fact, I'm going to Arkansas in 2 weeks to talk about an outreach program. But I'll tell you this, very, very few are actively and purposefully doing outreach. But in all the stores that I talk with, there frankly is no better way to develop relationships and create huge sales than utilizing your non-selling 7 minutes to send a little message to David about Susan's birthday, or what she has on her wish list, or what she wants for Christmas, or how did their move to Greenville go. So you get the idea. If you haven't yet, watched trainings 510 through 517 on outreach. And yes, I'm going to keep talking about this until you all do it. It's just that important.